Dun, 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 dun. Good evening, good evening. There's only a couple on this evening at the moment. There'll be a few more now. Good evening, Andy, Dusty, Mr. Miller. How are you? I got to make sure my volume is off. Thanks, same to you. Happy New Year to you and the family. Thanks, Dusty. Appreciate that very much. And we've got a lot to do now, starting back from tomorrow morning. The spray has got a load of work to do. We've got a lot to do in January for the shop, and I got lots of videos to do on this little baby and regarding the rack and all the different stuff. So it's just loads and loads of it. And a number of people bought like gift vouchers and so on. So we're going to come back in the new year with more students. So it's quite a lot to do, and that's relevant to mention that. We have improvements that we are setting out, both for website again, the shop, the teaching, the spraying, all of it. We've got these little goals in which to improve. And that's what the discussion is about us tonight, about what can we do if we feel like we've hit the wall, as we call it. A lot of drummers get that, don't they? They hit the wall, they get a bit down, they don't know what to do. It's the same old thing they play in, the same old feel, and they just don't know what to do to freshen themselves up. So we naturally have that as a shop, without a doubt. My brain has to think overtime, all the time, of how to keep this whole setup that we've got relevant, up to speed, up to date, and looking forward to something exciting each year. And that's what we've got to do. So we're going to keep on going. There's a couple more of us on, so good evening all. I'm just going to put my sticks just down there. So what are we going to do then? If, as drummers, we feel there are times when we sort of just hit that block, as I said, the same routine, the same sort of patterns that we play, the same style, and we've got to a point where we think we don't know if we're enjoying it anymore. Well, maybe these couple of little tips that we can do will help us along the way and improve on that. First of all, community-based. For me, I find that when I left drumming for a long time, when I came back, because I couldn't play anything anymore, I started to look at videos on YouTube, as you do. But what I found after a little while is that I was watching everybody else all the time, too much. And then what I was finding is that I wasn't enjoying trying to relearn, because I was just comparing. And when you're in that go compare place, it's not healthy. You start looking at them and looking at other stuff and thinking, well, I can't achieve that and I can't do that. So that isn't healthy. So I made a bit of a plan for myself. What I decided to do is I only go in and look at one or two videos that I specifically want to find and research on. So say, for an example, I wanted to learn a track or a certain pattern, a drum beat that I wasn't sure of anymore. I would just research that and find the one or two videos that helped me, and I wouldn't go anywhere else. I wouldn't go looking for lots of stuff because it was just too much information. So I think if we've come to a point where we are struggling a little bit and we don't quite know what to do, it's these little ideas that might help me to refresh and go for it. So first of all, community-based, little videos like this, just where someone's encouraging you to think of alternatives, think of things to do to improve your playing. But also, if there is a shop that's near you, get into that shop, go look around, talk to people therefore. Some people like the open mic nights, don't they? There'll be, say, like a jazz open mic night somewhere, and some folk will go and do that. We have a few local in our area of different styles of music, and go into that community and seeing ideas and talking to people can be good. It can refresh if you get the time to do that. But maybe we could start looking at things like the drum kit, changing even simple things like changing the configuration of your drums. So if you play a 6-piece drum kit, cut it down to 3-piece, cut it down to 4-piece, and so on. Just change it for the sake of changing it, because when you go to play the songs that you would play, even if that's just through practice in the house, you suddenly have to think differently, and that gives you a new energy sometimes. It changes. I actually enjoy very much changing the configurations in the shop. I'm always messing around, like this is true up, look, push to the left, and then the ride cymbal with one down. Other times I've only got a snare, bass and drum, or snare, bass drum with the ride cymbal. I'll take all the crashes out. I'll change things up over and over. One, because of the shot, but two, because I like to do that. It gives you new ideas and gives you new thoughts about getting the weaker hand stronger and so on, because there's less drums to play, as an example. So maybe that would work for you. A couple of other little points I've marked down here. If you're at home and it's electric, say drums only, so you can't be playing around with the configuration, price of a practice pad, and then get into something you've never done before. The first thing I thought I'd mention is, say we don't read. Now, if we are readers, maybe we can push to go that bit further and study reading a little bit harder, just to push yourself. If we don't have a determination, an application of what we're trying to do, it simply doesn't happen. I'm sure you'd agree that our brains can be very lazy. We think, right, next year I am going to read, or I'm going to improve my reading. And a year goes by and we think, well, I didn't achieve that. So if we're going to do it, we sort of have to make ourselves do it. And one of the reasons I keep saying on these videos that I've decided to come out live on a Monday is, rather than me keep thinking of these ideas of videos and then I go to prepare for them and then I get busy with things, I decided if I set a time, I got no choice. And it's not easy to come out live. It's really difficult. You've got to try and get your head into focus and all the rest. But I committed to it so that you keep on doing it. So surely, if somebody wants to learn to read or wants to improve in other ways, it's that mindset of a commitment you tell yourself. And 5 minutes every day, that is it. 5 minutes, that's 10. 5 minutes every day will improve whatever aspect of your drumming you want to improve. Because we need to remember the brain is a massive processing machine. So if you go to play something and you can't play it and you try and you try and you try, have you ever noticed when you go to bed, you get up the next day, sometimes you can do it, other times it takes a few more days, and all of a sudden you get up one day and you go, oh, I can play this. See, because it's processing, even in your sleep, it's putting all the connections together, working it all out. So 5 minutes a day isn't a bad thing. We aren't going to be doing something for 8 hours, but to do nothing per day and then turn up in 2 weeks' time to try and play somewhere, there's a big gap and the brain is not being used. So if you learn a language, you have to speak that language every day. That's important. 5 minutes every day. So let's say, for an example, some of you out there now, there's a few on now, that are not readers. I do apologize if I can't see your messages if you are, but say hello if you wish. So let's say you're non-readers completely. You can play drums, but you've never read in your life because you're nervous of it, and you just think, oh no, I can't do that. I'm not a reader. Well, first of all, we don't want to fall in a trap where, because you feel you're not a reader, you think you've got to go from 0 camp to 100 camp, that you've got to be this perfect sight reader and be able to play anything at any speed anywhere. That's not the purpose of reading. If you learn to read, it can break down. One, it helps the mind think differently, because now you're thinking with quarter notes, eighth notes, so you sort of count different. I feel you plan things out a little better, you understand, you can communicate better. But also, if you're reading from books, you notice that some of those fills are not the ones that you would naturally play. So they make you pull and think outside of the box that you're in, and you read something. And if you take, for an example, Trinity here. So if we opened up the book and there was a drum fill in there, because that's not the way I would play that drum fill, it's making me learn, because I have to learn it their way. You see what I mean? So it's application. But it doesn't mean that I have to be this great, fantastic reader. I haven't got to be a huge reader. It's only for me. It's only for me to sit there and to be able to work out songs that I want to learn. So therefore, we can start off with rock school, drum method, Trinity initial drums. Really, really basic, guys. If you're a non-reader, look how easy these actually are. You've got count 1, 2 on the snare, 3 and 4 is a rest, and then you've got these little exercises. And the whole book is built up of exercises all the way through until at the end you play basic 20-second long songs. Really good, really nice, and the more you just simply run through them, the better. And of course, once you start, you can go to grade 2s, grade 3s, grade 4s, and so on. Grade 4 in rock school is really good. Some excellent songs in there, and you'll enjoy playing the songs as well. And because you're enjoying the songs, you're now doing something different. That's taking you away from hitting the wall, isn't it? It's making you fresh again. So there's that one. Trinity. So they're two different curriculums, two different companies, as it were. So the difference is, by the way, to let you know, rock school predominantly has not had vocals in there, and they write their own songs, but they started also put popular songs in as well. 6 well-known songs, 6 rock school only songs with no vocals. And at the end, you've got a lot of sort of technical exercises and all the rest. Helps you with your rudiments and all the rest of it there. Whereas Trinity, the songs, if I'm honest, the more popular songs seem to be nicer. They've got the vocals in, but they don't have that technical exercise set up at the back. It tends to be within the songs. So there's advantage and disadvantage with both. But again, look, if you want to learn Nile Rodgers, Bernard Edwards, Le Freak, there it is on grade 4. And it's not that difficult for most drummers because they can already play pretty much what's on the song. They interpret their own. So by reading, you just tighten up certain things, and it's really good. So that's one way, boys and girls, of not hitting the wall, but to just do something different for this year now and say, right, can I achieve in 3 months, 6 months, and a year where I could read comfortably at sort of grade 4 if I'm taking my time, which means you can sight read grade 1, because the further you get with it, the sight reading just sits behind it. So, and it doesn't matter how well you do. This is for your benefit, not for everybody else's benefit. It's just for you to become a better drummer. So that's one little thought. I mentioned last week about should we play rudiments? Well, why not get a rudiment chart? Again, and if there's 40 rudiments on there, just because you've not used rudiments, paradiddles in your playing, doesn't mean you shouldn't start doing it. So rather than thinking, again, dauntingly, oh, I'm in trouble, I've got 40 rudiments I must learn, pick on one. Look at it, study it, and start working on that one. And as you build confidence with one, it'll encourage you to do 2. It'll encourage you to do 3 or 4. And then again, you suddenly realize, well, actually, I can use rudiments in my playing. And you haven't got to do them at 1,000 BPM. You've got to do them nicely and smoothly. So if you want to learn a rudiment, para, daddle, daddle, you just sit. So I don't need to be going 1,000 miles an hour, as I mentioned. I'm just sitting doing para, daddle, daddle until I actually enjoy one accent, and I'm enjoying talking to you and tapping. And it's meaningful, rather than me just sort of guessing. I've got something structured. And now all of a sudden, if you do that, if you've never used rudiments at all in your playing, and you start doing that, your brain will teach you. It'll do it, and it's fine. Then you swing it. There we are, Andy, that's for you, that. Swing it a little as you do your big band stuff. So you can start messing around with them, make them your own feel, and enjoy them. For me, again, don't play louder than you can speak, don't play faster than you can speak. So when I came back to drumming, again, because this had all gone, I sat down with Mustang Sally as a song, but I used Jimmy Barnes's version because I liked it. It's a bit more gritty. And I sat there and the song would come on and I would literally sit in the living room going paradiddle, paradiddle. And that's all I was doing. But because I had the song on, I had a 4.5 minute or 4 minute exercise of just doing that gently. After a while, I got better and better at it. So what I would then do is to double it up. Just paradiddle, paradiddle, ba, 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 and that's all I was doing over and over. But application, as we said, is key. It's just repeating it over and over and over, and then I would double it again. And to be honest with you, most songs, although there are songs that are quicker than that, and you do have to drive, you have to warm up a little bit, but most songs are not super fast within the rudiments. The rudiments in themselves are quite quick in their application anyway. You don't need to be much quicker than that in any song. So I found I just kept on doing them. So I'd learn one, then I'd learn another, then I'd learn another. Then it's the hard thing of trying to put them together. So I'm mixing two together there, and so on. I just kept doing that. And then I think about it, what to do on the drum kit, and I have a little play around, and it's lovely on the hi-hat and the snare, or the bell of the ride to the snare. It's really effective. So, there's a couple of suggestions. Mess around with the configuration of the drums. If you don't have a drum set up at home, get a practice pad. If you've only got electric drums, it's the same application on there. Maybe learn one rudiment to be determined now going forward. Maybe learn to start to read, which will naturally pull you towards a rudiment anyway if you look at the rock school books. Find a teacher, and maybe once a week or once a fortnight go to that teacher, because you bounce off each other, and then go away and do your homework. And you will guarantee to find within 2, 3, 4 months your playing has changed. Remember, when we look at guys and girls who are really good in YouTube and they fly around the drum kit, the reason for that is they sit down each day and that's what they are doing. Nothing heavy, nothing fast, nothing too loud, and that's all they're doing. They're just sitting there doing that. So another little thought for you, maybe start to look at the construction of your hands, okay? French timpani grip, thumbs point straight up at the sky, fingers go underneath the stick, and it's pointing forward from your body like that. Pretty much it. French timpani. No movement of the hand at all, it's only the fingers. The base of the hand there, the fingers. No movement of the wrist, I should say, or the arm. So I'll often make a student go like that and tap only. Okay, same with the other way around, only tapping with the fingers. So if we want to strengthen up the weaker hand, why not sit and just apply that? Again, super slow to start. Look at the hands, check, watch yourself, look, make a little effort on it, and then you can mess around like that. And you only need to go up to a certain speed, turn it over, German timpani grip, palms of the hands facing down, same thing again. Working on your double. 1, 2, 3, so double, 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 all the time. And that's another lovely way. Notice, not this, not up the hand underneath where the stick can get stuck, not one finger that's just doing basically a buzz roll, but a constructed movement. You're moving the arms to get a bit of a swing, but the motion, the German timpani really is through the wrist and holding the fingers underneath like that. So you're in control of the stick. So if you want to do a nice double, instead of that, it's, so there's a feel to it, a rhythm, a train. I always think of a train going up a track in a beautiful green valley, and it's working. Those pistons are working. Then work on the sound. Chase the sound down on your practice pad. If you can get a practice pad to sound nice, you can get a drum kit to sound nice. So that's all you need. Pair of sticks, little determination, a bit of planning, and a practice pad. And you can make your playing better. It's not a competition between me and somebody else and whatever. There is a drive. We want to be good, don't we, at what we do. But it's not a competition. If you can improve how you play and you enjoy it, it's great. One of my best customers for hired in the room is in one of the videos previous, Mike, who had a tough time in work, and he comes in and he'll spend 4 or 5 hours every week in one of the rooms, 6 sometimes, and he's one of the best at it because he simply goes in the room, he's not stressing about what everybody else is thinking, and he's just playing new songs all the time, trying different feels, trying different textures and all the rest. Which is my next tip. My next tip. Try a different style of music. So if you're a rock drummer, why not start to think about playing a big band feel or a jazz feel? Now, a number of my customers will say, yeah, but I'm not really into jazz. I don't like it, or I don't like swing and that. I like rock. But you know, often when we put students in and then we put the swing music or a bit of the jazz feel, they actually love playing it, even though they may not listen to it in the car driving to work, but they actually love playing it. So that 2 and the 4 and the hi-hat, it's got a lovely texture to it while you're playing the ride cymbal and so on. Again, all you've got to really do is to take your time with it and do the basics, because you will build your confidence over time. We don't go from 0 to 100, go from 0 to 1. Very much the basics. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, and then get the 2 and the 4 with the foot. That's all you've got to do. But if you keep on doing that over and over, your brain will want to do more, and then you can chase down a little bit more. And so on, and you just build and build. And the other tip I would say with that is, just because you don't like jazz music as a whole, it doesn't mean that certain songs won't catch you and won't be appealing to you. So I've got, for students again, I've got probably half a dozen to a dozen songs that I know they'll all enjoy, and we just put them on, and they all beam, they all smile with it. They really do enjoy doing it. And that's the way to go. So different genre, you can even try reggae if you want. Different genre, different styles, different positions, learn to read, learn some rudiments, and away to go. And the final tip, it's not so long tonight then for you, the final tip for me would be learn 4 or 5. I always tend to go with 4 to 5. Learn 4 or 5 songs that are a challenge to you. In whether that's a different style, or whether they're just songs you wish you'd always done and you need to really lock them down properly, then learn 4 to 5. Now, why do I tend to go 4 to 5? You can do 2, 3, you can do 1. I find if I do 1, again, because there's so much thought on that one over and over, sometimes you make mistakes. But if you give yourself a break from that one, but you're still playing drums, once again, the brain is constantly processing it all. It's putting all the pieces together for you when you don't even know, even in your sleep. It's putting it all together. So I tend to go round in a loop of songs that I enjoy. So I might want to do 7 Days by Sting. Very hard song, takes a lot of stamina, even though it's a very subtly played song. So I work on that, but instead of getting frustrated that I can't do it, I'll break away and go into something else. And that doesn't matter whether it takes me a week, a month, or a year. It's nobody's business, only mine. And then I will learn a jazz number. I was learning Take 5 by Brubeck. I've been working on 7 Days, but I still need to work on that one. I did 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover, and so on. So I ended up with 4 or 5 songs that challenged me a lot, and I just kept working at them. And sometimes you get them really sweet, and other times you think they're not very good. But if you're constantly rotating those over, then you're enjoying your playing. You've come away from hitting the wall. You're still playing the usual stuff that you do, but in the back of your mind you've got these new songs that are being done. And that's, for me, is how I keep everything going. I'm going to show you one more on the kit to do with the position of the stick as well, how that can help you. So I'm going to run around here, boys and girls. So, check again your position, how you sit, your hand structure. So you spend a little bit of time improving on that. That will change how you play. Maybe another one, learn to start to play open-handed, that way. But watch how you play open-handed. Try and do it in a nice way. And the beauty is that if you play open, when you want to improve your fills and your playing, surely, if the left hand, because I'm right-handed, so I'll say my left hand, if my left hand, if I want to make my fills good, if my left hand is strong, then my fills are going to be better. You see, if we play a standard 4/4, that's doing 8 strikes to the hi-hat. That's doing 2 strikes on the snare. So when I want to go then and do a drum fill, that's up there. That's been playing all night at quite some speed with a bit of aggression, and the snare is just hitting the snare. And again, even if you're doing jazz fields, because you're predominantly comping, as it were, then surely the right hand is working an awful lot. So if you can use the left hand in any application, then the stronger that hand gets within the brain as well, then the quicker, the stronger the fills get. Instead of one leading and the other one struggling, they're both ready for the run, okay? So I always push to play open as much as I can. But then it's trying to play what you would play with your right hand with the left as well, you know? Push the left hand through that pain barrier. That hurts sometimes, doesn't it? But you're working and working and working at it. That breaks you away from the wall as well. And then the last thing on the hi-hat, a lot of drummers, I notice, if this is the edge of the hi-hat, you play right across it like that. Boom. Hi-hats are quite high and they go straight across. Maybe you start thinking about turning over so that the tip is the only thing that you're using on your hi-hat. Why is it an advantage of playing for ages with just the tip? Well, you can then drop the shank of the shoulder of the stick onto the hi-hat when you're playing with the stick. So you can get a... But instead of cutting the hi-hat again, use the shank across the belly of the hi-hat. See, so you're dropping down, and if you start working on all the textures and feels you can achieve with a hi-hat in basic beats, one, it improves your playing, two, it stops you wanting to do fills like mad when the band don't want you to, but also it makes the whole thing better. It makes you fall in love with the rhythms. Shove the hi-hat in, tambourine. So other little ideas like that, just changing one little aspect to what you do when you're playing, open-handed, changing the feel of your hi-hats to create a nicer feel. Try the hi-hat with the left hand, which creates different feels or sounds to the right hand. And all these little things you can plan and you can work on, and they make a big, big difference. Then you convert to the foot. I think most drummers, if we're honest, will use the left foot unless they do play swing, jazz and so on, where it's a constructed 2 and 4. They need to keep that together. But a lot of rock bands, the foot on the left will just be very free. So if you're playing over this side of the kit, that may click here, it may click there, it may not. And it's not constructed, it's free-willed. If you want to again improve, give yourself a project, try and work on the quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and whatever you then play in your drumming, you're not allowed to alter the 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I'm doing that, now I'm going to drop 4 on the floor on the bass drum, but I wasn't allowed to alter that, or rhythm, something like a never stops, then stick to the hand. Doesn't stop. And if we work on these things, there's a project there that sometimes can take ages and ages and ages. You can change it to quavers, alright? Put a tambourine on and do the same thing, but you've got to do exercises over and over. You cannot ever change the construction of the hi-hat. Now, you may or may not use it. I find I do. But if you do these exercises, it pulls you away from the feeling that you've, as I said, run out of steam. It gives you so much to do. It opens up another pile of doors. and I'm confident you will enjoy your playing once again and you fall in love with it, okay? So it's just a couple of very, very simple examples. Maybe that will help. I hope so. And of course, you can create your own as well, your own ideas, things that you want to achieve, things that you're trying to find and look for. And you just say, right, that's something I've always wanted to do. I'm going to go off and do it. Maybe it's a double bass drum pedal, whatever it is. You go and do it, chase it down, and go and have fun with it. And I'm sure that will help you from hitting the wall. Ooh, okay? It's all about the wall. It's past. I'm going home because the fire's lit. And I'll have a little glass of wine with the fire, watch a bit of telly and all the rest. Because from tomorrow, this mad place is going to be open all over again. So, let's pop around. Say so long to you all. Thanks for watching. Take care. And if you're watching this after the live little bit, because we do get a lot, watch it through the evening and tomorrow. Hello to you as well and all the rest of it. Take care. Thanks, guys. Keep drumming. Keep drumming. Beautiful.